Every year at E3, there's usually one game that comes out of the blue, a collab, spin-off, or a blending of characters that makes you either stand in awe or make you cringe knowing what's over yonder. 2017's E3 was Mario Rabbid Kingdom Battle, a crossover between Nintendo and Ubisoft. The game was developed and published by Ubisoft. It's surprising that Nintendo would hand over the face of the franchise to someone else to make a game, let alone a combination with the raving Rabbids franchise. But whether we wanted it or not, it's here, so let's see what happens. Despite all the confusion of why this is even a thing, I'm still kind of excited to see how it goes, so... The game opens up with a young girl who, based on looking around a room, might have a thing for Mario. I mean, I'm not here to judge. I have 2 massive Legend of Zelda posters framed on my wall, but that's not here nor there, so... Anyways, this girl and her assistant, Beepo, create a helmet that can combine 2 objects into one.
Clever girl.
Sorry, that was too easy. After leaving her room, a bunch of rabbits appear through... Wait, is that a time-traveling washing machine? Like, Jesus, that's amazing! Okay. While wreaking havoc in this girl's room, a rabbit puts on the helmet and starts merging rabbits with whatever they can find before being transported through an interdimensional vortex and ending up in the now rabbit-infested, war-torn Mushroom Kingdom. Maybe it's not the most heartfelt tale, or even the most flushed out, but this story is surprisingly charming. Just walking around the world looking at the bizarre damage that has been caused, along with the little tidbits and notes that Beepo provides you throughout your journey, are actually kind of funny. For a game without a ton of dialogue, it gets the story across effectively, and with a charm that you don't see that much today. The rabbits have emotions and personalities, and keep things interesting throughout the game. Even Bowser Jr. has some character beyond, oh, I hate Mario. The poor kid has daddy issues. I never took Bowser for the kind-hearted father, but someone might want to look into this. What's going on in the Bowser household? This is as close to a shooter as Mario is going to get, and it's basically a game of laser tag. The gameplay is a Fire Emblem / XCOM style game where you're placed at one end of the level and using techniques and strategies covering you to try to take out your opponent. Each battle has a certain task that you must complete, varying from taking out all the enemies to escorting characters to the end of the stage. When you start battles, you can choose to upgrade your skills tree, change weapons for better matchups, or change your characters. Throughout the entire game, you only get to go with 3 characters at a time, which was extremely disappointing to me. In games like Fire Emblem, I always liked it when you would get those massive battles with a whole bunch of characters on the field at once. It kept the strategy going. It felt more creative. I don't know. I kept waiting for the game to increase the party limit, but it never did. What did impress me was the amount of variety you could have in a battle though. You have a number of status effects from different weapons, such as honey, which sticks in a place, or ink, which takes away your ability to shoot. On top of that, characters can run into enemies on the ground, or jump on them to do some extra damage before running for cover. What I really hate is there's no back button for after your character moves. It can be really easy to misplay a character on the map by one simple space, leaving them wide open and ruin a perfectly good game plan. Each of the 10 characters have a couple of unique abilities and weapons setting them apart from each other. Peach has a duckling bomb for long-range attacks, while Rabbid Mario has a widespread shotgun to do massive damage in close range. Outside of just battles, you have an overworld that you get to travel around. Along with doing some sightseeing, you have some basic button pressing, block pushing puzzles to solve, and outside of maybe 2 or 3, these are more mild inconveniences than actual gameplay. But I guess for a younger audience it could pose some bit of a challenge. After you have beaten a world, you unlock a bunch of zombie rabbit challenges along with a special level in each world, but honestly it's just more of the same, and if you go back after you beat the game, your guns will be so much more powerful that everything will die in one shot. The game does provide a 2-player mode, where you pick 2 characters each and fight in challenges against enemies. It's a nice mode to have, but it's pretty bare bone. Honestly, I would have liked for the campaign to be co-op instead. But all in all, there was a lot more depth to the battles than I was anticipating, and it was a nice surprise. Even if you don't get those massive battles that I was looking for, you do get a lot of strategic battles in the game. The game is strangely adorable. I don't know if it's just because they're Rabbids and their shenanigans, but there's just a charm to them that makes things much more enjoyable. You have a Rabbid Peach with her cell phone taking selfies right in the middle of destruction, and when Rabbid Luigi gets set on fire, he does a literal stop, drop, and roll. Even the game over scene has Rabbid Peach take off her wig and throw it on the ground after leaving. It's such a change from any normal Mario game, and it's actually refreshing, frankly. Traveling the Mushroom Kingdom, areas change drastically throughout the game, and each bring their own style to the game. I love how the entire world all felt connected. You explore the overworld seeing the destruction throughout, but you also see the map that you'll be fighting in next. And then after you beat the map, you're free to explore that area freely again. It makes the whole world feel like one. The music was alright, I guess. It wasn't bad, but it was certainly nothing that I was itching to put on my iPhone, that's for sure.
Despite his plum-shaped body type.
The game's main campaign is probably about 15 to 20 hours, which for a game like this, I think is surprisingly long. You also have chests in the overworld that you can collect throughout each world, along with the zombie rabbit missions and the special levels in each stage. If you are really keen on going for 100%, then after each level you get a trophy based on how much turns you took and if you lost a character. Not really worthwhile in my opinion, but it's a nice thing to have in the game, I guess. A couple things that I do want to point out is that this game is not without a few glitches. Within the first hour of playing it, I managed to clip Beepo through the ground, making it impossible for me to move. Something else glitch that I can't figure out, if I remember what it is, then you'll see it on screen. If not, then you'll just see a random clip. And the game also crashed on me 3 times in the final boss fight. I have no idea if it was my cartridge or what, but every time I went to the right off the start of each battle, it would crash. Guys, that's kind of a problem. I have read that I'm not the only one who's had this issue, so hopefully it's just dust in the cartridge and not a game-breaking glitch, but I guess we'll see. For a game I never expected to exist, I must admit I was pleasantly surprised at how in-depth it was, especially for a Mario Laser Quest experiment. Adding the rabbits in the game seems so unnecessary in theory, but they are really the life of the game. They add charm, charisma, and just overall enjoyability to what would otherwise be just a basic strategy shooter game. Overall, I was surprised and quite frankly, more or less impressed, minus the final boss glitch, but it's a half decent game. I mean, call it what you want. If you didn't like it at E3, you probably aren't buying it now, but I'd say take a crack at it, see if you like it. I think it might actually be worthwhile for a lot of people. That's it for this week, so as always, leave a like if you like this video, subscribe if you really like it, and tell all your friends. I mean all of them. Every single one. I don't care if you haven't talked to them in 10 years. This is a great icebreaker. Come on, help me out. You can do it, guys. Okay, that's it. Later, guys.